Welcome to Mr. Steve's virtual classroom. I'm Mr. Steve, and today we'll be learning one of my favorite Mardi Gras tunes. And in the process, we'll learn a little bit about the history of music in Mardi Gras, as well as about the form of the 12-bar blues. So we're all a little bit disappointed that due to the ongoing pandemic, Mardi Gras has been canceled this year. There's no parades, there's no parties, there's no festival. But the one way that we can keep the spirit of Mardi Gras alive, while still being socially distanced, of course, is through music. Music has been an important part in Mardi Gras since its very beginnings. Long before Carnival was organized, people were dancing and throwing balls and partying constantly in the weeks leading up to Lent, which is Lent's a 40-day period in the Catholic Church, in case you don't know, where people have to fast and pretty much lay off of partying for the whole time. And what goes with throwing balls and dancing and partying? Music, of course. So in the 1800s, musicians were constantly working. Orchestras and brass bands were always playing music for these balls and parties and parades. And with all these parades, a new style of music was developed that incorporated music from Africa, France, Spain, the Caribbean, Native Americans, and of course American Indians. And this style is called second line, which is named after the second line of jazz funerals, which is basically where the band would play some faster, dancey tunes to celebrate the life of the deceased, after the first line, which would be the dirges and slow songs mourning the loss. So eventually the style of music, the second line style, went on to influence jazz, and it went on to influence all of the Mardi Gras tunes that we know and love today, like Mardi Gras Mambo, Mardi Gras Mambo, 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 Aiko, Aiko, oh, hey now, Aiko, Aiko, day, Bourbon Street Parade, let's fly down, or drive down to New Orleans. And the song that I'm going to teach you guys today, Mardi Gras New Orleans by Professor Longhair. Professor Longhair, whose real name was Henry Bird, was born in 1918 in Bogalusa, Louisiana. He began his career in New Orleans in the 1940s and was hugely influential to musicians like Dr. John and Allen Toussaint, but he didn't really receive recognition until later in his life. His only national commercial hit was Bald Head, one of my favorite songs. But he eventually had a resurgence in popularity in the 1970s, a couple years before his death in 1980. To this day, he's known as one of the founding fathers of New Orleans rhythm and blues. And speaking of the blues, before we get started, I want to talk a little bit about the form of the 12-bar blues, which is what this song, Mardi Gras New Orleans, is based on. So, you've probably heard this format in hundreds of songs. It's one of the most popular forms in music history, and it basically consists of 3 lines. Alright? Our first line is all on the 1 chord right here. And our second line goes up to the 4 chord and then back to the 1. And our third line goes to the 5 chord. Hear all that tension and suspense, and then finally resolves back to the 1. Alright, 3 lines. First line, second line, and third line. Alright, you might recognize those sounds already. And so now that we got those 3 lines, once we add the lyrics in, our lyrics are only going to have 2 lines, alright? Because the first line, which is kind of our call, if we think about it as call and response, our call is going to get repeated over those first 2 lines, alright? So we're going to sing our first line over the 1 chord, and then we're going to sing that call again over the 4, it goes back to the 1, and then to round it all out, our response is going to go over this 5 chord here, resolving back to the 1 and releasing all that tension. So, each verse in this song, Mardi Gras New Orleans, is going to follow that exact formula. Okay? 1 line getting repeated, the call, and then the response, rounding it out. Alright? It's a little bit like the AABA formula that we talked about in my last video lesson. We learned about how to sing When the Saints Go Marching In. Only that first line is not repeated at the end, so we can almost think of it as an AAB form instead of AABA. Alright? Only the second time we sing the A, instead of being only over the 1 chord, like I said, it's going to go up to the 4 and then the 1. Alright? If you're a little confused, don't worry at all. You're going to hear exactly what I'm talking about once we jump into it. Well, I'm going to New Orleans. I'm going to see the Mardi Gras. Yeah, I'm going to New Orleans. I'm going to see the Mardi Gras. When I see the Mardi Gras, I'm gonna know what's carnival for. Alright, so there's our first verse. Pretty simple. Well, I'm going to New Orleans. I'm gonna see the Mardi Gras. Alright, that's the first line, and like I said, that gets repeated twice. Alright, so sing that first part with me. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Well, I'm going to New Orleans. I'm gonna see the Mardi Gras. Again. Yeah, I'm going to New Orleans. I'm gonna see the Mardi Gras. Alright, so there's our call. Once again, it gets repeated twice, and then we're going to round that out with our response. When I see the Mardi Gras, I'm going to know what's carnival for. Alright, so sing that with me. When I see the Mardi Gras, I'm gonna know what's carnival for. Alright, sing it one more time. 1, 2, 3. When I see the Mardi Gras, I'm gonna know what's carnival for. Alright, so you can kind of see how the first line, I'm going to New Orleans, gonna see the Mardi Gras, that's kind of our call. And then our answer, when we get that kind of tension, that's our response, and it resolves right to there. When I see the Mardi Gras, tension, I'm going to know it's carnival for. Alright, so there's verse 1. Okay, we're going to move on to verse 2, but if you need to hear any of those lines over again, please feel free to go back and rewind and listen to them and sing along as many times as you need to. It's the best way to learn a new song is just by singing it over and over and over again until the song gets stuck in your head, okay? So, here's verse 2. Going down to New Orleans, I got my ticket in my hand. Going down to New Orleans, I got my ticket in my hand. When I get to New Orleans, I'm gonna see the Zulu King. Alright, once again, 2 lines. The first line, I'm going down to New Orleans, I got my ticket in my hand. Alright, that's our call, so sing that with me. Here we go, ready? 1, 2, 3. Going down to New Orleans, I got my ticket in my hand. Again, going down to New Orleans, I got my ticket in my hand. Alright, our first line, repeated twice. And then our second line, the response, is when I get to New Orleans, over the 5 chord, our tension, I'm going to see the Zulu King. Release. Alright, so once again, we got our call. When I'm going down to New Orleans, I got my ticket in my hand. It's the first part of our statement. And then our response, when I get to New Orleans, I'm going to see the Zulu King. Alright, and as a lot of you probably know, the Zulu Parade is one of the most famous, probably the most famous Mardi Gras parade that happens every year, and each year they elect a king and a queen. And so this is what he's talking about, seeing the Zulu King. Later we're going to hear about the Zulu Queen. Alright, so sing that last line with me. When I get to New Orleans, I'm going to see the Zulu King. When I get to New Orleans, I'm going to see the Zulu King. Alright, one more time. 1, 2, 3. When I get to New Orleans, I'm gonna see the Zulu King. Alright, sing this whole verse with me. Once again, going down to New Orleans. I got my ticket in my hand. We say that twice. And then our response is, when I get to New Orleans, I'm gonna see the Zulu King. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Going down to New Orleans, I got my ticket in my hand. Going down to New Orleans, I got my ticket in my hand. When I get to New Orleans, I'm gonna see the Zulu King. Verse verse 2, ladies and gentlemen. And once again, feel free to go back and listen as many times as you need. And here is verse 3. Way down in New Orleans, on St. Claude and Dumaine. Way down in New Orleans, on St. Claude and Dumaine. Gonna make it my standing place until I see the Zulu Queen. So there's our first line. Way down in New Orleans, on St. Claude and Dumaine. As you may know, St. Claude and Dumaine are two popular streets in New Orleans. So I was thinking of this though, and I got to thinking, I was like, wait a minute, St. Claude is over here, and Dumaine is here. Those two streets don't intersect. So I looked it up, and apparently there used to be St. Claude Street. I was thinking of St. Claude Avenue over here. There used to be St. Claude Street, but in 2011 it got renamed to Henrietta DeLille after a famous New Orleans-born woman of color who founded the religious order Sisters of the Holy Family, and is currently a candidate for sainthood in the Catholic Church. A little fun fact for you. So, back in the day, it used to be called St. Claude Street, and that is where the Zulu parade a lot of times would pass by. And so that's where the writer of the song, Professor Longhair, would go, and he would make it his standing place, which is the second line. He'd make it his standing place until he sees the Zulu Queen. All right, so we got our first line, way down in New Orleans, on St. Claude and Dumaine. We repeat that. And then I'm going to make it my standing place until I see the Zulu Queen. Alright, so sing that first line with me. Way down in New Orleans on St. Claude and Dumaine. 1, 2, 3. Way down in New Orleans on St. Claude and Dumaine. Again. Way down in New Orleans on St. Claude and Dumaine. Alright, if you got it, let's move on to that last line. If not, go ahead and rewind. Once again, our last line. I'm going to make it my standing place. Attention until I see the Zulu Queen. Release. Alright, here we go. 1, 2, 3. Gonna make it my standing place until I see the Zulu Queen. Alright, ready to try the whole verse? Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Way down in New Orleans on St. Claude and Dumaine. Way down in New Orleans on St. Claude and Dumaine. Gonna make it my standing place until I see the Zulu Queen. Alright, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Verse 1, 2, and 3. Think we can do the whole thing all together? 3, 4. I'm going to New Orleans. I'm going to see the Mardi Gras. Yeah, I'm going to New Orleans. I'm going to see the Mardi Gras. When I see the Mardi Gras, I'm gonna know what's carnival for. Yeah, I'm going to New Orleans. I've got my ticket in my hand. Yeah, I'm going to New Orleans. I've got my ticket in my hand. When I get to New Orleans, I'm gonna see the Zulu King. Way down in New Orleans on St. Claude and Dumaine. Yeah, down in New Orleans on St. Claude and Dumaine. Gonna make it my standing place until I see the Zulu Queen. Give yourselves a round of applause for some wonderful work. I hope you all enjoyed this activity and learning a little bit about the history of music in Mardi Gras, as well as learning the song. A couple questions for you before we get out of here. First of all, have you ever seen the Zulu King and Queen? If not, you got to come down to New Orleans. Not this year, but next year when Mardi Gras is back on. And also, do you sort of understand a little bit more of the structure of the 12-bar blues? If so, maybe another fun activity would be for you to write your own 12-bar blues lyrics. Alright folks, that about does it for today. So, until next time, stay safe, stay happy, and stay healthy. Peace.